Hello, hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. In the last episode, we had a good old chat with Josephine. We learned a little bit more about her family, and we also sent our counselors off on some war table stuff. Now, it is a while since I last recorded Dragon Age, so they should all be back from their little missions. I'm doing something I don't like doing today. I'm recording this on the same day it's meant to go out. I was supposed to record this yesterday, but oh god, yesterday was an awful day for me. Absolutely awful. I felt like death warmed up. I had a terrible migraine. A test of metal and the crew. Sutherland and his company dealt with the Darkspawn threat. Lord Irrelevant paid no attention to them. I believe he was expecting a larger force he could posture against, not young adventurers. Such a shame to disappoint him. Liliana, yeah, fuck that guy. He seemed like an ass. And the other two missions, I believe, were over here. Inspire. Ha! A fine plan. Might I suggest that the apples be part of the hunt? A boar choked on apples has sweeter flesh, or so I hear. Chauncey, oh. This just seems cruel. If you're going to kill an animal, just kill it. Don't choke it to death. Oh, Chauncey. Chauncey, that's fucked. I don't like that at all. And hunt the Therenfall Redoubt demon. Inquisitor. The demon was clever enough to impersonate everyone from Seeker Pentagast to the Chief to even me at one point. But we caught it and put it down. There wasn't much left of the body after we killed the thing, but it had missives but it had missives with useful information. Most of them confirm what we already knew. The Elder One planning to kill Empress Selene and march an army of demons across Orlais. But I'll pass them to Sister Liliana regardless. The demon also held some items the Inquisition might find handy. Hope they help. Lieutenant Cremisius Aclasi. Ah, thank you, Crem. Thank you ever so much. You know what? I'm gonna leave this be for now. I'm still updating my notes with the war table mission, so I'll leave that for another time. Now then, I believe the only people we have left to talk to are Dorian, Vivienne, Liliana, and Solas. I think that sounds about right, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll be able to take a look at the, oh god, what is it called? The character records. There we go. Also, that'll be, it'll be handy to check if everyone is properly leveled.
I'm told you have Alexius researching magic for you. Research is always what made him happiest. Perhaps I'll even go talk to him eventually. One word of advice. If he suggests altering time as a way to solve all your problems, give it a pass.
Yeah, that sounds wise. That sounds like good advice.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
Corypheus was indeed a magister. Is there any way of locating the family he, not exactly that he descended from, because he'll have outlived all of his immediate family, but any remaining family members that are descended from Corypheus, there we go. Are any of them knocking about?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
I mean, technically speaking, there wouldn't be any records of a magister named Corypheus, because Corypheus isn't Corypheus's name, it's his title. The magisters sidereal all took on aliases because they didn't want to... They were concerned about the other magisters, you know, working against them, so they all took up aliases. Corypheus, the conductor of silence, the architect of beauty, etc., etc. So, you know, there wouldn't be any records of a magister named Corypheus. We need to figure out what this guy's real name is.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is, if he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
Still, if we could track down the families that used to claim, you know, blood lineage, maybe we could ascertain, you know, which families were just claiming it and which families could prove it. And then that way we could piggyback off of that information to try and locate any of Corypheus's living relatives. It's a very loose connection, but I mean, we've got Liliana. Liliana could absolutely figure that shit out.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Okay. Oh wow, not much to talk about with Dorian.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
Anything else?
What's on your mind?
Okay, nothing apparently. Damn.
I should go.
As you wish.
I knew there wouldn't be much to talk about with Dorian. I get the feeling it's going to be kind of a similar thing with Vivienne, but I'd have thought there'd be more than that. I mean, considering we're in the area, let's talk to Fiona instead.
I heard of your verdict on Alexius, Inquisitor. Research on your behalf is almost too kind. I hope you know what you're doing. Do be wary of anything that man proposes.
I get that. What Aenor did for Alexius, it is extremely kind, but he wasn't evil, if that makes sense. If he had been, like I said, just an evil person, why did you do this? Oh, because I'm racist against Fereldans and I have absolutely no shame. I did this for purely selfish reasons. I just want to see the world burn. I'd do it again. Fuck the lot of yous. Then she wouldn't have done that. But Alexius did have... There was some empathy there. He was a very empathetic character. He did what he did, not because he wanted to see the Tevinter Imperium rise to, you know, its glorious olden days. No, he did all of that because he wanted to save his only son. Because he felt guilty that, like, oh, my wife and son were traveling and I wasn't with them. And if I had been there, maybe my wife wouldn't have been killed and my son blighted. He did what he did out of guilt and love. And that doesn't make what he did any better. Like, people died, you know, the trust that people have in the mages it's going to be destroyed. Like, they signed up with the Tevinter Magister who started fucking with time. Like, people are going to distrust the Mage Rebellion now more than ever because of Alexius. But, like I said, he didn't do what he did because, oh, I want to see the world burn. He did it for his kids. And that, Aenor she can empathize with that. She feels compassion for him. I feel like I asked about Fiona being a Grey Warden before. But I can't remember. I seem to remember talking about Marek's magical penis. I swear down I've spoken about... Then again, I'm pretty sure I spoke about that in Origins, so, think I've asked about this one, so we'll leave it. Yeah, do you still lead the Mage Rebellion?
You're not still the Grand Enchanter then?
Any claim I had to the title ended along with the Circles of Magi, although some still call me by it. Perhaps the Circles will one day be resurrected. If so, another will take the position. Until that time, I lead my fellow mages by default. I will do what I can for them.
You think the Circles are going to return?
You believe they'll recreate the Circle of Magi after all this?
It depends on who the next divine is, and what she offers. We can't go back to the way things were. But endless warfare benefits no one. That is why I agreed to Justinia's conclave. There must be another solution.
I trust everything is well with the mages.
We're mostly relieved. An alliance with the Inquisition offers security, although who knows for how long.
Fair. Fair dues. Okay, thank you, Fiona.
I'll leave you to it.
Aenor sounded a little bit scandalized just then when she was like, oh, you really think they'll bring back the Circles? But here's the thing. I've said this before. I think Aenor believes that the Circles are necessary. They just can't be like they were before. Like, we need to look to Tevinter. For inspiration in that regard, at least. They should be schools, elite academies, not prisons.
Do you need something, my dear?
No. No, why would we ask this? Let's gossip instead.
What are your thoughts about the others in the Inquisition?
Blackwall is a useful sort of fellow, but he's perhaps too eager to please. He reminds me of a pup begging for attention.
Yeah, and I wonder why he's so eager to please you, Vivienne. Let me just... I wonder why. Eyes up top, Blackwall. Her eyes are in her face, not her chest. Now then, Liliana, where are you at? Okay, you're having a sit. That's fair. She works very hard.
Inquisitor?
Hello there, my dear. Game, I'm not gonna ask this. It is none of Aenor's business if Liliana and Justinia were fucking. It is none of Aenor's business. Also, why would we think that? Oh, there are two women and they're close. Obviously lesbians. Like, no, women can be friends with each other without sex being involved. Like,
Anything I should know?
I've agents stationed by the ruins of Haven should Corypheus or his lackeys return. So far nothing, and the breach has been quiet for some time. There is something at least.
Okay, that's good. That's very good.
I'll leave you to your work.
Yeah, keep up the good work, Liliana. God, she has so much riding on her shoulders. It's no wonder she became rather scary. You know what? Let me check this right now. I'm pretty sure the only person we have left to talk to is Solas, which seems odd. You know, I would have thought that Dorian and Vivienne would have had more to say, but no. I kind of thought that Vivienne's companion quest would have triggered by now, but maybe we need to complete one of the main quests. That would make sense. We spoke to Cassandra. She was one of the first people we spoke to. We spoke to Sarah. We've just spoken to Dorian. We spoke to Blackwall. Blackwall, let me find your notes, buddy. Come on. No. Oh, God. Went to the wrong place. They're under photos. Come on, Callista. Get with the program. And... okay, we want to grab this and this. Lovely. Cowl, we spoke to my adopted son. Cowl, you're right there. So let's grab 16, 17. Vivienne we spoke to. And Vivienne's notes are done, so let's grab this. And yeah, the only one we have left to talk to is Solas. Varric we spoke to first. And we spoke to Iron Bull, yeah. Yeah, it's just as I thought, damn. Okay, let me just, there we go, back to my timer. Solas. Solas, buddy. I know, up and over. Up and over, whee! Oh, yes! Oh, I love doing that. I'm sorry for jumping on your notes, Solas. Hey, bud.
Inquisitor, do you have a moment? What were you like before the anchor? Has it affected you? Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
No, not really. How should I know? Get to the point. I mean, he makes a fair comment. Have you been changed in any way by the anchor? It's a magical doodad, shall we say. It could have had some sort of unknown effect that is causing Aenor's personality to change. However, if that's the case, Aenor wouldn't have really been able to notice that. If she were being changed, would she really be able to say?
If it had, do you really think I'd have noticed?
No. That's an excellent point.
Why do you ask?
You show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
I'm just like everyone else. You make that sound bad. What did you expect? Here's the thing. Aenor doesn't put herself above anyone, and I also don't think she believes that she's different. She is a very average, ordinary, normal person.
I don't think of myself as different from anyone.
Perhaps not in the form of your body, no. You have shown subtlety in your actions. A wisdom that goes against everything I expected. If the Dalish could raise someone with a spirit like yours, have I misjudged them?
Yes, honestly, not really. No, I am who I am. I've said this before about Aenor. She tries not to judge groups of people based on the individuals she meets. She's met a lot of very racist humans in her time, but she's also met some very lovely humans who weren't racist. It would be wrong of her to be like, oh, all humans hate elves because Jeff was an arsehole. I'm gonna ignore Susie. Susie was nice. No, let's focus on Jeff. She tries not to paint groups with the brush of the worst people she has met. She also tries not to do the opposite. You know, she doesn't want to paint a group with the brush of the best people she's met. It's a group. There are going to be individuals. I also think that Aenor doesn't want to be the representation of the Dalish. Not every Dalish is like her. She's not something else. She is Aenor Lavelle, and she can only be who she is. She is a representation of herself. I don't think she'd be like, oh yeah, you've misjudged them because I'm great. Aenor knows there are Dalish out there who are very unpleasant, who treat the city elves like shit, who treat them as lesser. And Aenor, she abhors that. She despises that. She despises the Dalish who treat her really well, but if they knew that she was half city elf, then they'd suddenly be like, oh, you're not really Dalish then. She had not exactly that issue within her own clan, but there were times where they kind of treated her as different because of her mum. It was irrelevant that, like, she was raised amongst the Dalish. This is the only life that she has ever known. No. Because of her mum coming from the city, that somehow affects her perception. That somehow affects her in some magical way that makes her less Dalish. It was a problem she had within her clan, and they were relatively nice to her. She knows that there are some Dalish out there who are complete arseholes. I'm drawn to 3. Aenor is not a representation of every Dalish out there. She is a representation of Aenor.
The Dalish didn't make me like this. The decisions were mine.
Yes, you are wise to give yourself that due. Although the Dalish, in their fashion, may still have guided you. Perhaps that is it. I suppose it must be. Most people act with so little understanding of the world. But not you.
So what does this mean, Solas?
It means I have not forgotten the kiss.
Good. Don't go.
It would be kinder in the long run. But losing you would... Arlath ma Vhenan.
Oh my god. I always turn into like a little goblin creature whenever the Solas romance surfaces its head. My brain just goes, English, we don't need that. Communicate using noises purely. Oh, if you're wondering what Solas said at the end there, Arlath ma Vhenan, that means I love you, my heart, which I do think that would take Aenor by surprise. Aenor doesn't speak fluent Elvish, but she knows enough. I think she'd be able to translate what Solas said to her. Or maybe not, to be fair. That wasn't in English, so maybe she's kind of like dealing with a half translation there. I think she'd be rather taken aback by the intensity of Solas's feelings. Like, here's the thing, that was their first kiss. Yes, they kissed before, but it was in the Fade. Like, they weren't physically kissing, their souls were kissing, I guess. So, like, that's their first kiss, and he's already professing his love. However, I think they did form that bond. They formed a really strong connection before doing anything. And I think Aenor, she wouldn't say she loves him. Like I said, they've only kissed once. Like, that is way too soon for Aenor. She wouldn't say she loves him, but she does have very strong feelings, and they are feelings that she hasn't necessarily felt with previous partners. As I've mentioned before, she's rather picky when it comes to romance, and every partner she's been with, how do I put it? She's never gone into a relationship thinking, oh yeah, this'll last. I think on some level she's always known that, you know, they're from another clan and they don't want to live in my clan. Or they're from a city and they don't want to live outside of the city and I don't want to live in the city. Therefore, this is going to be... It's not going to be permanent. This is, you know, like, we're enjoying each other's company, we're having fun, you know. But serious long-term emotions simply aren't going to develop here. But with Solas isn't the typical type of guy she goes for. This is kind of someone that isn't the norm in terms of, you know, people she's dated. And I think that does kind of put her on the back foot a little bit. I don't think... How do I put this? It's like, I said this before. Aenor... Oh, God. I worded this badly last time. I said that she's never respected the people she dated like she respects Solas. And that isn't to say that she didn't respect her previous boyfriends and girlfriends. And that isn't to say that she wasn't friendly with her previous boyfriends or girlfriends. I think that is, you know, that is one of the things she needs to know. Do I like this person as a friend? If I don't like them as a friend, then I'm not going to like them as a romantic partner. It would be stupid of me to pursue something, you know, with someone if I don't like them, you know, having a regular non-romantic conversation with them. But with Solas, she saw him give his life for her. She respects him a great deal. She considers him to be an extraordinarily good friend. Those emotions, they were so strong before, you know, entering into any kind of romantic relationship. And I think she does look at Solas and she thinks, maybe there could be something long-term here. I'm not 100% sure because it's still so early, but the feelings are there and they are much stronger than I've ever experienced with anyone else I've dated. I hope I'm making sense here. Fingers crossed I'm making sense.
Vhenan.
My heart. Okay, You know what? Let's discuss Corypheus with Solas. Let's see if he has any opinion.
I need to know more about Corypheus.
We spoke of this on our travels to Skyhold. What more can I tell you? Cassandra and Varric seem more familiar with their adversary.
I respect you. I'm asking them to. I'm asking you. Kind of an odd response. Wouldn't you say? Solas has always been very happy to answer questions, offer advice before. No, I was literally just saying she respects him a great deal.
You've given me good counsel before. I could use some now.
My apologies, Inquisitor. My poor manners shame me. I claim no secret wisdom, but I will guess as best I can.
Tell me about his orb. What will he do next? What is his power base? Yeah. We spoke about the orb on the journey to Skyhold. You said it was elven.
I would like to know more about the orb he carries.
As I said, that must be the means by which he created the breach. I suspect the blast that destroyed the Conclave was more accident than anything. The result of unlocking power that had sought release for ages. What I cannot understand is how he managed to survive such an explosion.
You said that you believed the orb is elven.
I never would have believed a Divinta mage could unlock such a powerful relic. It clearly enhances his abilities. Giving him access to power he should never have known.
Like the power to control the archdemon.
Indirectly, one assumes. Nothing in any law connects my people to the old god dragons who became archdemons.
I like this line. Here's the thing about Solas. You can pretty much always trust the things he says, because Solas lies by omission. There is nothing in any law that connects my people to the old god dragons who became demons. That is true. There is nothing in any law. That doesn't mean that there is no connection. Like I said, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I believe that the elven gods are the old god dragons who became archdemons. There is no law that states that, but that doesn't mean it couldn't exist. It's like... Oh god, I don't want to give spoilers. There is no law connecting the dwarves to something larger than them. But we know from the Descent that that is the case. But there was never any law in the games. Do you get what I'm saying here? What Solas says is true, but that doesn't mean that there isn't evidence out there. Solas lies by omission.
What do you think Corypheus will do next?
You shamed him when you destroyed Haven. Spoiled his glorious victory. It would be worse to acknowledge that you had done so. He must continue on his course or show weakness. He will return to his plans to throw Olay into chaos, and then conquer it for Devinter.
You're sure that's what he'll do?
As certain as is possible. Assuming I can plausibly predict a man who seeks to rise to godhood.
And can you?
The key is understanding this. No real god need prove himself. Anyone who tries is mad or lying. His deception will undo him, as it has done countless fools before.
Oh, I like these lines. These are some good lines.
What can you tell me about the source of Corypheus's power?
According to the law, the ancient Magistars of Devinter received guidance from the old gods. Corypheus commands a false archdemon, a corrupted old god. This suggests he no longer sees himself as their minion. Some of his unique power comes from the corruption of the blight. The rest may come from the orb he carries.
We'll talk later.
Dareth Shirar.
I'm sorry for the cut there. Just had a bit of an interruption. Yeah, I was about to end the episode. Let me just read a couple codex entries before I do so. Right there. Kunari, Ben Hasrath. All of the Kunari ones seem to be at the top. I mean, I'm glad they're all lumped together, but Ben Hasrath. Suggesting that all Ben Hasrath are spies is like assuming that all craftsmen are carpenters. The Ben Hasrath form a significant portion of the Kunari priesthood, tending to a variety of tasks within Kunari society. In Kunari cities, Ben Hasrath serve as something akin to a town guard, investigating anything that disrupts the orderly functioning of the city. Ben Hasrath re-educators treat criminals and rebels against the Kun, determining whether they must destroy the subject's mind using a poison known as Kwamek. Those they can rehabilitate through treatment and education are later transferred to simple work details. In contested or war-ridden areas, Ben Hasrath coordinate with the Kunari military to track the dreaded Talvashoth rebels, a function similar to bounty hunting. Outside Kunari borders, Ben Hasrath agents primarily observe and report. While this may seem underhanded, it is no more than most nations do with their own spies, and the Kunari are, perhaps rightly in retrospect, extremely concerned with the danger our culture's comparatively liberated mages pose. Our assumption that all Ben Hasrath are malicious spies bent on bringing Olay into the Kun has no basis in fact. It is simple prejudice against a race whose appearance unsettles us, compounded by a guilty conscience at seeing how many peasants, especially elves, prefer life under the Kun to life under our Empress. The Kunari are a society of people with a different culture and different values, but people nevertheless, as complex and nuanced as Olay. An excerpt from The Lion and the Bull, Racial Bias and Oversimplification of Kunari Societal Roles in the Orlesian Court, author unknown, published by the University of Olay. Rebel Mages. Whereas the Circle was established not merely to protect the world from mages, but also to allow mages to practice their art safely and without fear, and whereas under Lord Seeker Lambert's command, the Templars sworn to protect all people, including mages, from the harmful effects of magic, have instead persecuted mages with such biased judgment as to worsen the problems they were meant to mitigate, and whereas the Rite of Tranquility, intended as a tool of last resort to stop uncontrolled mages from hurting themselves or others, has instead been used for punitive and political purposes to silence dissent and inhibit civilized discord, and Whereas Andraste herself intended the relationship between mages and Templars to be one of practitioner and protector, not prisoner and jailer, and this contract has been broken, leaving mages in fear for their lives from those sworn to protect them. Now, therefore, the Circle of Magi declares the following. We, the mages of Ferelden and Orlais, do hereby dissolve the circles and renounce our sworn submission to the Order of the Templars, effective immediately. We reiterate Andraste's assertion that magic was made to serve man, not rule over him, and state unequivocally that we will use our abilities only to defend ourselves from those who would see us relinquish our lives and freedoms under the presumption of guilt for crimes we have not committed. We condemn those practitioners of magic who, through illness of mind or understandable but misguided anger at those who oppress them, would use their maker-given powers to threaten innocent lives, and we pledge to aid any legitimate and impartial government in bringing these lawless apostates to justice. We look earnestly to a future of cooperation between all peoples of Thedas, free from persecution and prejudice. I apologise for the tongue fumbles. I'm really hungry and my dinner is waiting for me downstairs. Free from persecution and prejudice, and hope to build a better world alongside all who approach us with friendship instead of fear. Yours in service to Andraste and the Maker, the Free Mages of Thedas. A leaflet distributed in towns and villages across Orlais and Ferelden. Tal Vashoth. Our wagon was travelling from the port village to one of the larger cities when they fell upon us. They shrieked like beasts. Their facial markings were savage and nonsensical, their brutal weapons chipped and uncared for, and they stank of unwashed sweat as they charged. The Tal Vashoth snarled as they fought. One of the workers was bitten. The guards cut them down with blades until they fled, then finished the rest with arrows. We followed their trail into the forest and found their camp. There were women, hunched and cowering as no woman should be. Filthy children, thin and underfed, and corpses. I will always remember the corpses. There were more Tal Vashoth as well, and the guards cut them down. As they disarmed the last Tal Vashoth, one guard asked him why they lived like this, why they acted in this manner. The Tal Vashoth looked him in the eye and said, "I deny the Qun." Then he threw himself upon the guard's blade. I have questioned the Qun. I believe many of us have, although we do not admit it to each other. But when I saw that rage in the Tal Vashoth warrior's eyes, when I saw the horrible savagery that the Qun alone holds in check, I knew where I belonged. I am not a perfect Qunari, but I know my place and my purpose. I am content. Excerpt from an interview with a Qunari worker in Kirkwall. Alrighty then, and with that, I am just about out of time for this episode. Let me find some good lighting. There we go, that's better. In the next one, I believe all we have left to do is sort out our inventory, and then we will be off travelling again. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.